secrets in the shallows, lost and found. Truth in every echo, loud and clear. Keep on with the long road, no more fear. In the halls of power, whispers grow. Every secret cracked beneath the undertone. Honest stories hidden in the dust. On this long road, in the truth we trust.
Welcome to the Long Road. My name is Chris Roberts. I'm glad to be back after the winter break. We're going to address a number of topics today. And just think within 5 days, what we're talking less than 120. So if we're looking right now, about 116 hours from now, Mr. Trump will be putting his hand on the Bible and swearing in to be the 47th president of the United States. And whenever there's any change of presidencies, there's always some major changes. Some are well known, some catch people by surprise, and others just slip right by and people have no idea what happened or how it happened. But before we head into that, the first thing I'm going to talk about is in 2022, the federal government passed the PACT Act, was to help veterans file claims, veterans that served at Camp Lejeune with the toxic water for almost 30 plus years. The people that served in the Gulf in the 1990s, then the people that served in the Gulf, Afghanistan, and other areas at 2002 onward. But what has happened over and over and over again, there have been slime bags. You don't see all the commercials on TV anymore. You don't see the people on YouTube, or you don't see them on Facebook that they were, almost every other ad was, hey, I'm here to help. I'm here to help. We can get you this. We can get you that. Well, they're not so obnoxious anymore, but they're still there. And there's lawyers, there's other people who said, hey, you know what? I used to be a Marine officer stationed at Camp Lejeune. I'm here to help. I served over in Afghanistan. I'm here to help. And there's so many people who says, I'm here to help. Just like there's all these different charities that say, donate to us. We're here to help. We're here to take care of Americans, veterans, because the American government does not take care of veterans. And well, like a lot of the lawyers and a lot of these people that help say they're going to take care of veterans, the veterans' families, or the veterans' children, quite a few of them take care of themselves first. And then there might be a little bit left over to help a veteran in need or whatever. So what I'm going to do right now to start the new year off is give you a couple of things to watch out for. Okay. Here are some signs an entity may be a claim predator. You know, we can't use the word fraud, abuse, all that. So we do this word claim predator. They are not accredited by the VA. Beware of claim predators asserting that they don't need to be accredited by the VA or they are qualified to help in some other way. Don't believe them. I'm accredited by the VA. I'm in my 9th year helping veterans, and I've helped over 1,200 veterans in that almost in 8 years. Okay. It took me over 4 months to become accredited before I could help a single veteran. There's a bunch of stuff that I have to take through the VA. There's offline stuff I have to take, and I have to take this test. I got to pass this test, and I have to shadow other accredited veteran services officer before the VA will even give me my access card and a computer to get into the VA system. I have to go in background checks because I get to learn quite a bit of financial information that if I wasn't so nice, I could take advantage, defraud a lot of people. Okay? They downplay VA accreditation. Beware of claim predators downplaying the quality of help veterans and their family members can receive from VA accredited VSOs for free. Well, me, hey, I've had about 800 successful claims. I get about 85% of my claims are successful. And I've recouped over $5 million in back pay for my veterans. And if all my veterans were still alive, they would be collecting about $500,000 a month in payments between them. And I did not charge them one iota. I do not steal them from any other person, any other organization accredited, or even if they're not accredited. If they don't come and see me, I don't go after them. Plain and simple. Accredited VSOs have a certain ethics that they have to follow. Okay? And that's the way it is. So, I'm not out there going, oh, nope, you don't want to stay with them. Come over to me. Well, every time I go with a veteran, before I do anything with a veteran, I have them sign what's a 2122 with authorization for me to help. To be accredited, you have to, you're not a VSO working for like the New Hampshire Department of Veteran Services or Maine or Massachusetts or VFW, whatever, and you go in and say you're a lawyer or someone like that, you're supposed to do a 2122A. If the person does not require you do a 2122A, that means they're not accredited. Because what happens is the VA is going to ask you for your accreditation number. 3, they charge high fees. Okay? By law, you cannot charge anybody money to complete the claim. Some of them go around and say, well, you know what? I'll do the claim for you for free, but I'm going to have to charge you for me to do the research. No. Most of the people that come and see me, we set an hour appointment. I sit down, I talk to them. I'm done within an hour. We usually have everything done and the claim submitted the same day. If not, I will take a 2122, get to look at the military service record, military medical record, and then would have another appointment and we'll look at what we can file then. Plain, that's simple as it needs to go. That doesn't take a lot of work going in. If you're a paratrooper and you have 100 jumps, I don't have to do any type of research to find out, well, you know what? Does paratrooping lead to bad hips, lower back, shoulder problems? No. Any idiot would know that. You don't go to a paratrooper veteran and say, well, you know what? I'm going to have to research that. And it might be $40 an hour for me to do that. No. Plain and simple, no, you don't have to do that. And never pay anybody a fee to file an initial claim for benefits. And what some of these individuals will do is when they file a claim, they will file a claim knowing that it will be denied. Why would you say they want to do that? Because if it gets denied and you appeal it and you get any back pay, they get 20% right off the top. Bingo. They get paid before you do. And I've had a number of people that I've worked at, and that's what they've done. I had one individual, an elderly veteran, who paid $750 non-refundable on its credit card just so someone who could say, you know what? Yes or no, you can file the VA claim. Duh. Anybody who is not dishonorable discharge, bad conduct discharge, or dismissal from the service can file a claim. Even other than less than honorable conditions, you can still file a VA claim for things that disabilities that happened in the service. You won't get paid for it until you get your discharge upgraded, even if it's only for VA purposes, but you will get all medical care for that free. The thing is, to me, if I file a claim, I don't want it denied. A denied claim means more work for me, time that I could be used going on other veterans. I have claims that have been denied, and I got to resubmit. They get denied again. I appeal. Then I have to maybe go to a hearing. And if that doesn't work out, then I have to go in front of a judge. And this could take years. And in the meantime, the individual's calling me when we're going to have a hearing, when we're going to see the judge. I'm getting emails, texts, all that. That is taking time. And I had one individual. He kept saying, well, I think I'm going to go to get a lawyer. I go, yes, you can get a lawyer, but I don't think the lawyer is going to benefit you anymore. I think I can do it better than you, but it's totally up to you. And it took us 6 years, but he got $157,000 in back pay. And he goes, thank you. And I says, you know the only difference between me and a lawyer? If we had the same outcome? If I was a lawyer, I'd be $31,000 richer, and you would be $31,000 poorer, because the Board of Veterans Appeals would have cut me the check first. I would get that, and then as a lawyer, I would then send you another bill for incidentals and other times. You know what? Every time you called me, even if it was only for 6 minutes, cha-ching, or you emailed me, cha-ching. And so, there. They make dishonest promises. Do not trust anybody who claims they can help accelerate the claim process and obtain a 100% disability evaluation. Only the VA has the authority to determine disability evaluations. Me, it's no rhyme or reason when it comes. The VA tries to set a goal of 125 days or less, but what happens sometimes it takes longer. It may take 2 years. Other times it may be done in 3 to 4 months. It all depends on where it goes to, which VA office goes to. Some are much quicker than others. And the only time I tell people what the VA would give them, okay, if you have tendonitis, ringing in your ears, sounds in your ears, all you're going to get is 10%. That's the law says you're only going to get 10%. I don't care how bad it is, you're only going to get 10%. Okay? Or you get diabetes. If you have diabetes and you do exercise and diet, you're going to get 0%. Service connected, but 0%. Hey, but you're taking metformin and all that kind of stuff, you're going to get 20%. Oh, you have to take insulin, you're going to get 40%. Those are hard facts. Yeah, you can get 60, you can get higher, but those are in different areas. But those are hard, okay? There are so many things there. You know, prostate cancer. Why you got prostate cancer? While it's active, you get 100%. You go get your prostate out and you have radiation. It's 6 months after your treatment is done, you go get reevaluation. And then you can get a 0, a 10, a 30, 40. Those are the normal ones. But that all depends if you wear diapers. That's how many, depends on how much you change your diapers every day. It matters how often you got to go to the bathroom. It matters how often that you get up at night. And all that matters. What they're going to do is they're going to look at the exam and what you told the examiner, and they're going to look at your records, medical records, to see what you have told your doctor, to see if you're trying to just up it, but there's been no proof that it's ever happened. That's the only way I will go and tell people. You know, when it comes to back or knee problems, joint problem, arthritis, it's anything guess. It's all based on the interpretation and recommendation, if it's service connected or not, by the examiner and how bad he or she feels it is. And then the writer then takes that information and goes to the big manual, which covers every single possible disability there, and the schedule of ratings there. There's a few ones that they don't have, and in certain cases they can go give you a 0% or 10%. Never sign a contract agreeing to pay an unaccredited individual or company a fee for exchange for assistance in filing a VA claim, to include a percentage or a fat fee from future benefits. Plain and simple. You come here, if you see me, bang, 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 I go, here it is, do a 2122, we sign it, I upload it, I can help you, but you know what? That next day, 2 days, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't want Chris anymore. Bingo. All you have to do is call the VA up and say, nope, I don't want Chris anymore, and Chris is gone. Plain and simple. I no longer have access to anything of yours that's in the VA. Okay. Unless you're under a stone someplace or you're way, way up in a cave in Alaska or northern Maine, you know about the Los Angeles County fires. I lived south of LA 98 to about 11 years. I lived through the Rodney King riots when LA was burning, people were getting killed. I've lived through a number of fires. I remember when we were in Irvine and where we were living, and if you looked out the door or out the window up on the hills, you could just see all the flames going, the sky bright red. Fires are a fact of life out there. Right now, before I came here, I found out that San Diego is having its fires. Again, San Diego has a number of fires, especially west of San Diego. When you get out of San Diego and you go into the mountain passes, and it's coming. And let's do a little quick on these fires. An individual, former lawyer for Vice President Harris, he lives in the area. He calls 911 and says, hey, there's all these smokes and some flames out by my house. So they say, okay. He videotapes waiting for a response. 45 minutes later, a helicopter shows up. And by that time, the fire is doubled. And it's just doubling, going on and on. Gets it all on video. Wait a minute. Just think if you lived out in West Keene, let's say, out past where the Y is and stuff, and you're in the Y, and you see up on the hill smoke, you see some flames, you call the Keene Fire Department, and they don't show up for 45 minutes. What the hell would you be thinking? Would you be happy, or would you want someone fired? That's what's going on. This is Freddie Escobar, not the druggie, no related to the druggie and all that kind of, the drug lord and everything. He's the president of LA Fire Union, and he's a veteran fireman. I am going to say what people can't say. If we cut one position, if we close one station, the residents of Los Angeles are going to pay the ultimate sacrifice, and someone will die. So far, at least 25 people have died, and something like 24 people are missing as of now. This isn't about one budget cycle. It's not about a single mayor. This has been the case for decades. We've been speaking about this for years. It's sad that it takes this natural disaster and tragedy to highlight what we've been saying for decades. This goes to prove, whether it's Katrina with the levees, other areas along the Mississippi, Hurricane Sandy, the fires out in LA, fires out in California, they're all going to cause damage, but there's been no need for the amount of damage that's been inflicted. Every single one of them, these are the direct result of a lack of poor leadership. It's been the result of kiss butt leadership. What do I have to do to get elected? What do I have to do to be appointed the fire chief? What do I have to do to get appointed to this? Give you an example. The CNN analysis, the most recent data available from the 10 largest U.S. cities and other comparable departments show that the Los Angeles Fire Department is less staffed than almost every major decision, leaving it struggling to meet both daily emergencies and large disasters such as wildfires. New York City doesn't have to worry about wildfires, tenement fires, but no wildfires. St. Louis, New Orleans, San Francisco. Despite being located in one of the most fire-prone areas in the country, the Los Angeles Fire Department has less than one firefighter for every 1,000 residents. To give you an example, if Keene used the Los Angeles Fire Department ratio, Keene would have 23 firemen. That's it, 5 personnel. Keene would, using LA's ratio, would only have 23 firemen, 5 personnel. Can you picture how safe or unsafe Keene would be if they only had 23 people, fire people in this whole city? 23. And that's less. So if you really took it down, would be, okay, Keene, we're going to follow the LA route because LA is far more fire prone than Keene could ever be. And so let's eliminate those and bring it down to 20 people. Keene, you only allow 20 people working in your fire department. People would be up in arms. That compares to such cities as Chicago, Dallas, Houston, which staffing is closer to 2 firefighters for the same number of residents. Of all the largest cities, only San Diego has the fewer firefighters per capita. So when we look at Chicago, Dallas, and Houston and compare them to Keene, we got about the same ratio. Okay? When we look at Los Angeles and we look at San Diego, wait a minute. 2 things in common. They're both in Southern California. They're both 3 things. They're both really wealthy cities. And 3, they have a lot of fires, a lot of wildfires. Up the coast from LA, the city of San Francisco has 1,800 firefighters for 1.5 million, while Los Angeles has 3,500 firefighters for 4 million. So, if Los Angeles had the same ratio of firefighters that San Francisco has, Los Angeles would have 1,300 to 1,500 more firefighters, or almost 5,000 firefighters. Experts say that no fire department in the world would have been able to take on such a perfect storm of conditions that resulted in LA's devastating blazes, which has burned more than 40,000 acres, destroyed more than 12,000 structures. The LA firefighters have been joined by crews from across the country, including from Los Angeles County Fire Department, which covers areas outside the city, include hard-hit Altadena, but images of residents in some areas trying to save homes with guiding hose and no firefighter in sight has sparked a new debate over whether city officials should have planned better and invested more in the Los Angeles Fire Department. and what should be done. LA's firefighters say the lack of resources is an everyday concern that extends beyond the ability to battle wildfires. They've also been tasked with responding to structural fires, traffic accidents, medical emergencies, which spike amongst worsening homeless crisis. You know, Keene brought the Keene Fire Department. The fire chief, deputy fire chief, was in front of the FOP explaining why they needed 4 more firefighters and why they wanted the city to apply for a grant that would pay for part of the cost. Some of the people were complaining is, why do firefighters have to go every time it's a car accident? Well, you don't know if it's an electrical car, whether a lithium battery can go at any time. You don't know if it's leakage. You don't know what's going on. You don't know the extent. The firefighters are also cross-trained to some of them to be EMTs. So what happens if the multi-car crash and there's 5 or 6 injuries there? Okay? The firefighters have to switch over to be EMTs while other ones are extracting people out. In a memo from the end of last year, Los Angeles Fire Chief Kristen Crowley also expressed concerns that the fire department staffing levels were half the size that a professional fire department should be, based on benchmarks recommended by the National Fire Protection Service. In the memo, where the city has since removed from its website, isn't it amazing? Every time there's something that's really embarrassing, it's a real leadership failure to the elected officials. The first thing is, let's not solve the problem. Let's take all the embarrassing stuff off the website. In the memo, which the city has since removed from its website, the fire chief said the city population has grown from 2.5 million in 1960 to nearly 4 million in 2020. Yet the city has fewer fire stations that it had in 1960, even as firefighters respond to a call volume that has quadrupled. So the firefighters just dealing basically with normal stuff in the city, drug overdoses, homelessness, whole car accidents, all those from 1960 to 2020, the amount of calls have quadrupled, have gone up 4 times. But in its divine wisdom, the city says, well, you know what? Okay, this is where I really took off some people. Wait a minute. A homelessness problem, it's more important than providing ambulance services and fire department services. Our illegal immigrant, alien, or whatever you want, migrant, taking care of them is more important than providing fire protection and ambulance service to the citizens of Los Angeles. And I'll go even more. Okay? I do not give a crap about Paris Hilton's house burning down, mansion burning down. I don't give a crap about these multimillionaires, billionaires actors and writers, buildings, homes, second homes, third homes, burning down. I haven't seen much at all about, oh, what about the people that are getting $15 an hour, don't have a car, have to get on the bus to go work for these really wealthy people? What about their homes? What about their jobs? The places they work burning down. They're not going to have jobs. But no, here's Paris Hilton. And Paris Hilton may have, oh yeah, I'm really stuck. I only have $50 million in the bank. I'm just a heiress to the Hilton hotel fortune. Please feel sorry for me. No. What about the people that go in and say, well, insurance company says, hey, these beautiful people don't want to have a requirement to trim the trees, clear the brush, have prescribed fires, forest management. No, they don't want we don't want to mess around with Mother Nature. The same people who say climate change increases the risk of fire hazard. Okay, if you believe that climate change, and I'm not going one way or the other, but say you believe climate change increases the risk of wildfires, wouldn't you then in turn say, if climate change is increasing this risk, what do I have to do, or what can I do to alleviate that increased risk caused by climate change? Well, we had a lot of rain the last 2 years. Look at all that stuff that built up. Oh, look at all those dead leaves, pine needles, all that kind of stuff. Well, you know what? Maybe we can have a prescribed burn, have someone take it out. But you don't want to do that because there might be some birds underneath there or some other stuff underneath there. True. But you ever stop to think about what happens to those birds and those amphibians and other wildlife when you have a wildfire? Hey, I knew that when I was 5, 6 years old and I watched the movie Bambi. Who suffers the most in wildfires? The animals and the birds and the lizards, the frogs, and the stuff that we quote unquote care about. So, doesn't happen. I lived in Irvine. All the time I lived in Irvine, hardly any place burnt down. You know why? Because they had rules. Okay, you can't use this for your roof. You can't use this inside. I didn't remember anybody dying when I was in Irvine in a fire. You know why? Oh, they had sprinkler systems in the house. They had sheetrock and stuff that had a slower burn rate. And they had smoke detectors. And so, if I was in a house and my house caught on fire, smoke alarm would go off, sprinklers would go off, and I would have plenty of time to get my family, and we would be able to go outside and be safe. Save the city of Irvine money because they did not send a fire truck. They sent basically a vehicle out there that had a paramedic in there, and they could assess the damage and call people in as necessary. Oh, okay, bingo, I can do a fire hookup right here and start getting the fire under control until a regular fire truck comes in. Also, they had fire trucks set around. Okay, if you're going to build a 500 unit subdivision, okay, by the way, Mr. Developer, you're going to have to build a fire station in that subdivision. There are ways to do it. But no, you got the mayor of LA who loves being the mayor and the perks of being the mayor, but has failed to show the leadership that's required of being a mayor. But she is really proud of her diversity and equity hires. When you have a city this big, you got to get the best person. Sometimes the best person is a female. Sometimes the best person is a male. And there had one, the one, they were talking about the deputy fire chief. They were joking and they pulled it down now because they've been doing the memes. And they asked her, she's on the website being equity hire. And it goes in and says, what happens if a male firefighter falls in a hole and the female firefighter couldn't pick him up, couldn't get him out of the hole? Her answer was, he fell in the wrong hole. And she says, you know, when people need help, they want to make sure, you know, people like them show up. And one of the questions was asked, well, if a Filipino homeowner house is burning down, does he really worry about if the Pacific Islander is a fire personnel on that fire truck or not? If you're an African American and your husband just had a heart attack and he's bordering on life and death, is your first thing you're going to say, is there an African American medic on that ambulance? I bet you in both cases, your number one answer is there a qualified individual on there? Yeah. You know, I spent 21 years in the Marine Corps. And I've seen women that would outshine the vast majority of men, and I would have loved for them to be my leader. Hey, I want the best. My life depends on that. Okay? Just because someone's a female doesn't mean he can serve in combat. I've got people that I've worked with, and I'd go, hell no, there's no way I want to serve under that guy in combat. He's incompetent. He knows how to play the political game, but when it comes to actual combat, actual critical decision making, no. I want to come home alive. I want to do my job, come home alive, and come back and see my family. I do not want to have to work for someone who is great with politics, office politics, who knows how to kiss butt. Or we would say, that guy is so far up the CEO's butt, he has ring around the collar. We do not need that in critical positions. But, you know, that's what's happened. And you know what? People with money get to pick and choose who they want to be our political leaders. People have to go and say, no, we're sick and tired of what money has been buying because we haven't been getting our money's worth. Okay, now we're going to do another one. One of the most effective way of lying is telling the truth, but knowing that people are going to perceive it as wrong. Or tell them the truth that people are going to misinterpret it. Knowingly doing that. Or telling them in incomplete truth. You know, that's why in the old Perry Mason shows, or when you put your hand on a Bible, I know you can't do it nowadays in most shows because so many shows have become politically correct and they don't want to offend anybody, so they don't put their hand on the Bible. And I bet you didn't know you didn't have to put your hand on the Bible. You could put your hand on other religious things too, in some places. So the old thing, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Why do you think they would say the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Isn't the truth the truth? No, the truth is not the truth. And the most effective way to lie is use statistics. Damn statistics. I can find a statistic to back up anything I want to say. Okay? What we're going to do right here, okay, we'll start off. About $12.5 trillion, or around 8% of all household wealth in the United States in the second quarter of 2024, is owned by the middle class. But what's the middle class? Well, this is the old definition of the middle class. Middle class is 41 to 60. The middle class. You're breaking down into 520s, and that's the middle class. But you know, those numbers this number wasn't coming out very good, so some people think the middle class goes from 21 to 79. That's a pretty big middle, you know. But we want to make the numbers look good. Wealth, often referred to as net worth, is the total value of what people own minus debt, like credit card balance and mortgages. If this wealth was divided equally among all middle class households, okay, we say $12.5 trillion, or 8% of all the worth in the United States. So the middle 20% of the people in the United States, households, 20% of the households in the United States, the middle only own 8%. Okay? So that would come down to, if you averaged it, $472,000 in wealth. $472,000 in wealth. Oh, does that seem like a lot of money? Well, I'll give you an example. Hey, if you have a $350,000 house in Keene, and it's paid for, and you have a couple of cars that are paid for, you have some checking account, you have some savings account, you have an IRA, you would own more than 8%. If you fell in the middle class, you would own more than 8% because you would own more than that average of 472,000. There are more than one way to define the middle class, but the most common method is to divide all American households into 5 equal-sized groups based on income. The middle class consists of the middle group, those earning more than 40%, but earning less than the top 40%. So in 2022, the last official using IRS numbers and census numbers and stuff, that's 58,000 to 96,000. So again, the total wealth in America varies greatly depending on income, and most wealth in the U.S. is concentrated in a small number of very wealthy households. Okay. So let's look at that. Top 1%, top 1%, their average household wealth is $27 million. Those are the ones who decide, well, yeah, I like Governor Newsom, I like Mayor Bass, oh, I like some of these other people, and you're going, what the heck? Because they can buy access to power, and they like to elect people that are not going to push back at them. The top 20%, $2.9 million. Not a bad average. But you know what? The place with the fire is in Los Angeles, the median value of a house was $3.4 million. And so there's a lot of people in the top 20% who lived in Los Angeles who will no longer be in the top 20% because their income is going to go way down. And their wealth is going down too because they're not going to be able to rebuild. Some of them did not have replacement insurance. Some of them undervalued their insurance. 21 to 40%, less than 800,000. So if you go with the top 20% to the next one, the second group only has 25% of the wealth of the first top 20%. The middle class, 471. The fourth, 61 to 80, which would be the working class, 258. And the 81 to 100 is 178,000. But that's average. Okay? So if I'm on Social Security and I'm making $20,000 a year on Social Security retired, but my house is worth $200,000 and it's paid for, I distort the average. You go, oh, how does that happen? Because they were using as average. So you're going to go and say, for people who are making basically $1 up to like, I think it was 25,000, they average 178,000 in wealth. Okay, this is not apples to oranges because they don't like to compare apples to orange. But this is what medium, 50% above, 50% below. Okay, no high school, not a high school graduate. 50% of the people who did not graduate from high school have zero retirement account. That's wealth, so they have zero. 50% of people who did not graduate from high school have $1,101 in their checking account. 50% of the people who didn't graduate from high school have a total assets of $2,000. So when they put all this stuff in jewelry, watches, cars, everything, 50% and below is 24,000. High school, it's 150, 28, 13, $83,000. Some college, 2,500 in a retirement account, has 3,900 in a checking account, has total financial assets, IRAs, things like that. Well, that'd be going to Republic, but other ways, savings bonds, 87,000, net worth of 87. College graduates, 50% of college graduates have less than $51,000 put away for savings. Think that. $51,000 away for savings. So if you had a $300,000 house all paid for, and you lived in Keene and you were living just on Social Security and having tomato sandwiches, cucumber sandwiches, you better not get sick, and you would have enough money to pay off your taxes for 5 years. Checking and savings account, $17,000. Total financial assets, 114, and total net worth, 50% or less, have $300,000 or less. Well, so if I go to this, and we talk about 40% of the people in the United States, a rough number, have college degrees. There's something wrong here, isn't it? If the average for 41 to 60 is 471, and the average of 21 to 40 is 800,000. So if there's 50% less than 300,000, and the other was more, so these averages are distorted. And so these are the number games that they played. And so do never ask what the average is. Always ask what the median is. What is the median salary, the median cost, the median tax? That's a much more truthful, nothing but the truth answer. And so, that today went pretty quick. See you next week.